let's talk the spiral versus the loop. So the spiral represents the intuition, which calls you to make gradual changes towards your evolution, development, and transcendence. So this helps you to see past repeating cycles of the mind and move beyond what you think you know. Then we have the loop, which represents the ego, which wants you to stay in the same repeating cycles over and over again. This is what feels comfortable and safe to the egoic mind, since it's all that it knows. And this topic is so important because it's great to know the difference of being stuck in a loop versus moving through a spiral. So for today's Talk with Tyy Tuesday, I'm going to express the difference between a loop and a spiral, as well as give some examples and how you can break out of a loop. So if you're interested, let's get into it. Hi loves, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new. Thank you for joining me. My name is Tyla, and today is Talk with Tyy Tuesday. So for today's episode, I want to speak about something that is so key when it comes to being on your healing journey, and that is the loop versus the spiral. Oftentimes, a major thing that keeps us back when it comes to healing and growing is certain cycles that replay in our lives. And although our ego's job is to keep us safe and protected, it at times can hinder us from our growth and evolving because it keeps us in these same environments. So the ego represents the loop, and this is usually what keeps us in the same cycles and repeating the same patterns with nothing changing. So same emotions, same outcomes, and no growth. So to give you guys a few examples, this can look like going back to the same toxic connections, or having the same triggers but not understanding why you're having those same triggers, or being in a repetitive thought process, or overthinking a specific thing. And all of these things are what also lead to burnout. So some signs that you may be stuck in a loop is if you are experiencing burnout, if you notice that you're not really having any growth, that you're more so living in frustration and feeling like life is just happening to you. So a lot of the time when you do feel stuck, it's something deeper that's going on within that's causing you to be in that same loop. Now, as for the spiral, this does bring you back to the same familiar lessons, but you approach it in a different way. So you come at it with more wisdom, with more clarity and insight, more understanding, and overall more sense of strength, knowledge, wisdom, and boundaries. So to give the opposite examples for the spiral, so say that you are faced with a toxic connection, but instead of going back to that connection, you decide to release it, or you meet somebody similar, and instead of entertaining that connection, you recognize the red flags. Or say that you are getting triggered by something, and it's something that used to make you react, but instead of reacting, you're responding, and you're taking that time to go within and figure out what it is that's making you feel this trigger and understanding it from a different perspective. So to tell the difference between a loop and a spiral, if you're stuck in a loop, you'll notice that you're repeating a lot of similar lessons, that you feel powerless, and that you're repeating without reflecting. So some ways to know that you're in a spiral is if you are responding with more awareness, if you're growing through what you go through, and as well as if you notice that things still hurt you and may affect you, but you don't respond the same, and you know how to heal and work through it. Something that I've noticed a lot on my healing journey is that you're going to experience a lot of the same or similar feelings of certain things that you've went through. So this is basically your trauma triggers. And for me personally, I found that I was always stuck in a loop because I didn't understand why I was repeating the same patterns, why I was running into the same issues, or just having the same experiences. And it kind of led to me feeling like there was no hope for the future or just for growth in general, because it just seemed like no matter what I would do, I was just stuck in the same predicaments. But it was my perspective at that time. And so once I got to the point where I could define why I was experiencing the things that I went through, what was it on my end that I was repeating as for habits or just ways of thinking that led me to be in those same predicaments and scenarios, this is really what helped me to break free and start creating new responses to the things that would come up. Our repeating cycles and patterns are really a guide to help show us what it is that we're stuck with when it comes to our growth or what's just holding us back. So this is why I say that it's so important to figure out the root, because a lot of the times it's something deeper than just the surface. It may be unresolved trauma or even just subconscious beliefs that you may have. So once you can get to that root and understand why it is that you're experiencing the same thing again, this is what helps you to break free from that pattern instead of being stuck in that same loop. And once you finally do break those cycles and those habits, you'll notice a lot of progression within your life, and all of the things that seem to be blocked before you were able to break those cycles, because a lot of times those cycles can keep you from experiencing the things that you truly want, because sometimes they act as like energetic blockages. You'll notice that a lot of things will start to progress for you. You'll start to have different experiences, and overall, you'll just notice a huge change within your outer reality. But that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Peace out and much love.